Welcome back, Kings fans. I'm Jesse Cohen. This is All the Kings Men Live, presented by MANSCAPED. MANSCAPED is an official partner of the LA Kings. Thanks to this revolutionary company, manscaping accidents are a thing of the past. Just get yourself the Manscaped Perfect Package 3.0. Inside, you'll find products like their Lawnmower 3.0, which has advanced skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't cut you. Everything you need to keep trimmed and smelling nice is in the Perfect Package 3.0. You can get 20% off plus free shipping with the code KINGSMEN at manscaped.com. Go to manscaped.com and enter the code KINGSMEN. That's one word, KINGSMEN. I want to welcome everybody watching on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course everybody in the Twitch chat room. And most importantly, I want to welcome Carrlyn Bathe, who joins me as she does every week. How are you doing, Carrlyn?
I'm exhausted. Just
yeah.
being honest. Between all this hockey, working baseball this week, I am just toasted, but I am so happy to be here. And this gives me life. So I'm hoping to suck some energy out of today.
Excellent. Well, hopefully there's some energy to be had. But we're going to start off, as we do, with a Would You Rather, Carrlyn. And I had to do some prep work for this Would You Rather. And I asked you for your favorite rides at Disneyland. I didn't tell you what it was for.
Nope.
So here's the Would You Rather. You get one day at Disneyland.
Okay.
Free of charge. You don't have to worry about driving or figuring out any of the details. You just get to go and enjoy yourself. But would you rather spend the entire day in line for your favorite ride, which I believe is the Cars ride at California Adventure?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Or you can spend the rest of the day, all day, going to as many rides as you want, but you cannot ride the Cars ride.
Okay, that's tough because you want to do the one that you want to do.
That's right.
What kind of Jesse? I was scared you were going to take something away from me that I like, which is usually how these questions go. I feel like I would just have to not ride the Cars ride just to save some fun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I'll have to be incredibly bummed and be like, oh my gosh, crap, I can't ride the Cars ride today. But I'll try and make the best of the rest of it. Is that the answer I'm supposed to give? That
is the sane, mature, responsible adult answer. And unfortunately, we work in an industry where very rarely does the sane, mature, and responsible decision get made. And so I asked you that question as a way to transition into the first overall pick in the NHL draft. And we will find out if the Rangers are going to ride their favorite ride or if they're going to trade the pick and get to ride all the rides and not the Cars ride all day long. Because the New York Rangers, they're the mystery team. They win the first overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Did you watch that? I mean, there's a ton of hockey, but did you watch that half-hour-long show?
I had baseball going on that day, so I couldn't watch any of it, but I was reading Twitter and keeping up with it, and it was just I was kind of indifferent about it, you know? I feel like the surprise of it being one of the play-in teams had already worn off on me, so it almost didn't matter, which team had gotten it to me. I was already shocked that somebody had claimed that overall number one spot, so I was just like, okay, I'll have to just check the news when it comes out, but what a historical day for the Rangers. I mean, that's kind of incredible for them, and who knows what decisions they're going to make. Jesse, how do you feel about it?
Well, I want to start with the actual telecast because, a friend of mine chided me.
Tell me what I missed. Let's hear it.
Nothing. You didn't miss a single thing.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's a half-an-hour TV show built around a ping pong ball popping out of a machine.
That's TV, baby. I love it. Let's milk it.
So, I'm watching it, and I'm in this group chat with a bunch of my hockey buddies, and I say, oh, my God, just drop the balls in and let's move on with it. Because they had this thing where, what can I use I'll use a spoon as a prop. So the guy dropping the balls in the machine would hold up each ball. There we go. And he'd say, is this, Commissioner Bettman, is this the logo of the New York Rangers? And then Gary Bettman would go, that is correct. That is the logo of the New York Rangers. And then the next one, is this the logo of the Pittsburgh Penguins? So I was sitting there just saying, just do it already. And my friend was like, come on, man, it's a half-an-hour TV show. They got to milk it.
Yeah, gotta milk it. Gotta milk it.
But the best part was the hopper they had, and it looked like one of those, popcorn machines with the clear tower where you can see the kernels, blooping up into popcorn.
Very familiar with popcorn machines.
So you could see inside in the hopper, and there were only 8 lottery balls, one for each team. And the Toronto Maple Leafs ball made it like a quarter of the way up the tower was almost about to hit the chute that would bring it up to the top, but it bounced twice off the edge of the tube and then back out. And then half a second later, the Rangers ball got sucked up the tube, and that's how the Rangers won. But so if it hadn't been clear, right, we wouldn't have been able to see Toronto almost win the pick.
Oh, my gosh.
That was it. That was the exciting moment, was Toronto almost winning, but New York winning. And
that's dramatic. It
was.
That is just so dramatic.
For just being 8 ping pong balls bouncing around a popcorn machine.
Yeah. Sounds thrilling. I'm sad I missed it, actually.
And the other thing that some people are complaining about is that when the guy was dropping the balls into the loading chute, he dropped the Rangers ball prematurely. And so then he had to like stick his hand in, like, you know, in Connect 4 when you want to pull one of your moves back and you have to like shove your finger in the thing and move it up the.
I'm fine with my moves when I make them. I've never had to retract the move in Connect 4.
So anyway, he had to go and like bring the Rangers ball back up so he could hold it up for Bettman to say, correct that as the Rangers. So some people are suggesting that was the moment that they tampered with the ball and rigged the draft, which of course is absurd.
Before you move forward, how do you think you could tamper with that? If you were to fantasize, I'm tampering with the number 1 overall draft pick, what would you do to the ping pong ball?
I don't know. So, I mean, like in the famous rigged draft scenario that everybody always mentions, which was the Patrick Ewing one, they had envelopes, and everybody says that the Patrick Ewing envelope was put in the freezer so that when the commissioner was touching the envelopes, he knew which one was the New York Knicks one. So that's a clever idea.
Wow. Okay.
With ping pong balls, I don't know, because that popcorn machine, I don't know enough about how it works. You'd have to.
Do you make it lighter? Maybe it's lighter?
I don't know, because I mean,
and for everyone listening to, we're theorizing. We're not saying this is a conspiracy. We're having fun. It's our Thursday morning fun show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want anyone to be like, "Did you hear Jesse Cohen thinks the ping pongs are?"
No, it's clearly not.
Just a disclaimer.
And I mean, the Maple Leafs, like, I don't know. You'd have to have some sort of. I can't believe I'm about to say these words. Anti-plastic magnet device inside
yes. Like a static cling or something. Like maybe somebody took a balloon and rubbed it against their head.
Yeah. Because the Maple Leafs ball was about to hit that hopper.
Yeah.
And it just didn't.
Oh my gosh.
But I will say this. My thoughts on New York are well documented. Not a fan.
Wow.
And I've been to the city. I like this. Like, the city is obviously lovely. I'm not a fan of people's attitudes about the city, both from and not from the city. Like,
this is a direct dig at Alex Faust. I feel it. He's a New York guy.
Nah, because I've had multiple conversations.
You seen him speed walk? He's in New York.
No. Look, I have no problem with New Yorkers, and I've talked to Alex, right? I don't know how many dozens of times, hundreds of times in my life, and the fact that he's from New York might come up coincidentally.
Yeah.
Like if we're saying, like, where'd you go to camp? It'd be like, well, I grew up in New York, so blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to enjoy bringing it up for no reason, which a lot of New Yorkers seem to do.
Yeah.
But also, so Alex, I like Alex just fine, obviously. But it's just this attitude of like we all are supposed to care about New York that I'm object to. Okay. Like, for example, there's tons of teams that are rebuilding, but somehow the Rangers are the one that we're all supposed to be paying attention to and can't wait. Their goalie has a nickname, the King, even though he's never won anything. Anyway, the point is, I don't like the draft. I don't believe in the draft. But if I did, I would be outraged that the Rangers won not only this year's first overall pick, but last year's second overall pick.
Yeah.
Like, that is some garbage.
Yeah, as a fan, I could see. It just seems unfair as a fan. You're just like, wait, why them? And it just seems like the universe is against you. But I hear you, Jesse. I do. I hear your New York frustrations, and I hear your draft frustrations as well.
Now, as it turns out, like I said, I don't think that the draft matters. And so I'm whatever. New York gets some incredible luck that other teams wish they would have. But we saw Edmonton win however many first overalls, 4 or 5 over the last 14 years. And
doesn't guarantee success. It really doesn't.
Certainly does not. And
there's a lot more going into building around a team. You know that. You know how much it takes. It's not just one player.
But the Rangers, I think the Rangers are the one team that people are speculating might actually trade the pick or not select Alexis Lafreniere, which
interesting
makes for maximum interest, I guess, over the next 7 weeks or whatever it is until the draft.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion of who they would pick if they did not pick Lafreniere?
I'd only be regurgitating what I saw other people say.
Okay.
So the New York Post suggested that because they need some size and some sandpaper and they're heavy on the wings, that they might actually take Byfield.
Okay.
Which means that Lafreniere would drop to the Kings, which would be great.
That would be awesome.
But having said that, if they really don't want to take Lafreniere, they could also do what I think LA should do, which they won't, which is trade down with Ottawa for 3 and 5. Because
gotcha.
Regarding my would you rather question for you, 2 players are better than 1.
Oh.
And everything I'm led to believe is that the draft is stocked with enough talent that 3 and 5 would give you 2 very, very good players. And the reality is I'd rather have 2 very, very good players than 1 superstar. People can tell me I'm a lunatic for that all they want. We're going to get into the qualifying round results, and we'll see exactly what happens when you have superstars versus depth. So let's move into that.
I was going to say, Jesse, this is why somebody who makes the big bucks bigger than us gets to make these decisions, and we just get to go, all right.
Yeah.
Good call, guys.
So let's move into those qualifying rounds. We talked last week about Carolina beating the Rangers, right? So we don't even covered the Rangers plenty. But I think the biggest story of the qualifying rounds was Chicago beating Edmonton, right?
Right. And taking out, I mean, what? Like, why? Why? And poor Edmonton. I mean, it's just such an upset for them.
Yeah, well, like we said, superstars are great, but you got to have depth. And look, these were all best of 5 series, so you know, it was sort of wacky things. And the whole point of this was that you would have if no upsets happened, then what was the point of the bubble? So
something had to happen.
Yeah, but look, it's particularly painful for Kings fans because obviously Dominic Kubalik, right, had that huge opening game, and the Kings gave him up for a 5th-round pick, so that sort of stings.
Tweeting all about it.
Yeah. But look, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl don't make the playoffs.
You just want to see them get rewarded, you know? Like, it just felt like they should have continued on, and in a regular season, had they finished it out, maybe that would have been the case. I don't know. It stinks, but it's crazy. But that's what makes playoffs fun, and I guess even more fun this year because it's just like, what? It's the wild, wild west, literally.
Yeah.
Like, upsets are going to happen, and people aren't going to make it.
I think I heard Chicago had 9 players who had never had any postseason experience.
Wow.
So I mean, that's fun, right? Like, good for them, good for those guys, and you know, Chicago, St. Louis, LA, and Pittsburgh were all at sort of varying similar levels of rebuildiness back in 2005 to 2010, right? And obviously Chicago wins their cups, LA wins theirs, Pittsburgh wins theirs, St. Louis doesn't do it in that same window, but might have kicked off this new window with theirs. St. Louis is still in their cycle, but I feel like Chicago and LA have begun their next identity. You know, Chicago still has Taves and Kane and Keith, LA still has Kopitar, Brown, and Doughty.
Yeah.
And they have Crawford, we have Quick, but they're sort of moving on to the next chapter, as are we. And just as they were, a few pages ahead of us 10, 15 years ago, they are again now. But I just find it interesting that, like, the same franchises, as we enter this new sort of decade, we're seeing the sort of similar storylines play out from previous ones, which just goes to show you it's not about superstars. I'm going to pull a little Jerry Krause here. It is actually about organizations. You do need great players, but great organizations get you those players. Anyway, I'm rambling. The other funny upset was
the ramble. They're responding to it well right now. They are.
Good.
Yeah.
The other hilarious upset was the Maple Leafs losing to Columbus, and I mean, it's funny. I'm sorry, like, it's painful for those guys, but for the rest of us, it's funny.
From a fan's perspective, there is a lot to point fingers at, or a lot to kind of go, you know, The Simpsons, Ralphie. Yeah. Like, it's just there's a lot that I can see fans doing to kind of pick on them. I feel for the players so much to have playoffs continuing on in Toronto without them. Like, that's just got to sting. Also, what do you do when you're done and you're in your home city? Do you Uber home? How do you get out of the bubble? Is there like Well, I kept thinking about them and their families. Like, they're so close yet so far from their families and haven't been able to see them for so long. The second it all ends, what's the protocol? So I had this like little bit of a heartache for them. But it's hockey, it's sports. This is why we watch. We love the upsets. We want to see teams crawl back. We want to see John Tortorella be happy. Like, we don't want to see another, bummed out press conference where he doesn't want to talk to anybody. Like, it's just the thrill of it all. But, I have a big heart and I think about the players and being in their own city, and I was just crushed for them.
There's two franchises with kid genius GMs. It's Toronto with Kyle Dubas and Arizona with John Chayka. Now, John Chayka left Arizona. He essentially, I don't know if he quit or was fired, or it was one of those things where he said he was quitting and they said, "You can't quit, we're firing you." And he said, "You can't fire me." I don't know, but he's gone.
Right.
And Kyle Dubas had a bunch of angry things to say to the media about, what they have to say about Cody Ceci. So I don't know, guys. It looks like the kid genius route, heavy on analytics, might not be as all that it's cracked up to be. There was one more team loaded with superstar talent that lost to an underdog, and that was the Pittsburgh Penguins losing to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, I think most people assumed that either the Oilers, the Leafs, or the Pens would get that number 1 overall pick after losing in the first round. None of them did.
Yeah.
Montreal is probably the one underdog team that I'm with you, where I'm like, this is great. I'm more interested in how happy I am for them than how amused I was.
You have a Canadiens bias, though.
That's true. I do a little bit, sort of. It's selective when it wants to show itself.
Yeah.
Then there was 4 more series that I publicly stated I did not care about. Calgary beats Winnipeg, Arizona beats Nashville, Vancouver beats Minnesota, and the Islanders beat Florida. The only reason I think some of those series are interesting, like we mentioned John Chayka, but the Islanders beat Florida. Florida had Bobrovsky, who they took from Columbus. Nashville had Duchesne, who they took from Columbus. The Rangers had Panarin, who they took from Columbus. And all those teams lost, and Columbus won. So
interesting, huh?
Again, superstars are great, but you need a team. You need depth. You need defense. You need goaltending. Anything from those series that stood out to you? Anything that captured the imagination? Obviously, Vancouver has Pearson and Toffoli. Arizona has Brad Richardson. Carolina's got Derek Forbort, I guess. Sorry, Calgary's got Derek Forbort, not Carolina.
Honestly, no. I've been, me. I've been a little bit removed because of all of my prep that I've been doing for baseball lately. That I've just been like keeping tabs on everything and was just shocked by the whirlwind of everything that happened with the amount and volume of hockey that we had. And what I was able, it's true. Like, and what I was able to tune into, it just was such a whirlwind that I was like watching it all happen in front of me with like this glazed over, like, okay, let me know when it's done and I'll have
it's never
an opinion.
done, Carlyn. We're going to be watching hockey forever.
I don't really have much to say about, what happened other than like, it's just crazy that like Pittsburgh's out, Edmonton's out. Some of the greatest goal scorers in the game right now, currently, like Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, aren't able to showcase themselves on the biggest stage in hockey right now. And it's just like, what is happening? Like, what would this have happened in a regular season? So the little routes in my hockey brain are just like crossed with just like, I don't know what to think of all of this.
I think really I saw somewhere that 3 of the top 4 scorers got knocked out in the qualifying rounds. So, like you said,
yeah.
it's a bit crazy, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to the first round of the playoffs. We've only had 2 days, and although I'm just getting an update from Kings HQ that Tampa Bay is now up 1-0 over Columbus, courtesy of Kucherov. So that's going on. But Tuesday, last week, Carlyn, I said to you that I knew I would regret saying it, but there was too much hockey.
Yes.
And then Tuesday, we literally got too much hockey.
Yes.
A 5 overtime game between the Blue Jackets and the Lightning. 5 overtimes, that's a lot of overtimes.
Yes. I was going to look it up. I was going to pull up a window. Maybe you know the answer to this. What was the longest overtime game in history of the postseason? Was it that one?
No, I think
No.
it's from like 1934 or something
Okay,
crazy
so
like that.
they didn't. Okay, but they were like going toe to toe, contending with like
I
longest of
want
all
to say
time.
this was the 4th or the 14th. I can't remember which I heard, but there was a 6 OT game against, I want to say, the Islanders in Pittsburgh, like back in the 80s or 90s. I should have done my research for this, but you put me on the spot there. I'm not entirely sure.
And I had the Google window open, and I was going to make it
all right.
seamless, like we knew what the answer was. But truth be told, we don't. And it's a live show, so let's just look at the actual game for what it was. It's 5 overtimes,
crazy.
right?
5 overtimes, a lot of hockey.
3 periods is a regular hockey game, right? Yeah. 3 overtimes. That's a whole other regular hockey game. So they've played 2 full hockey games. Then 2/3 of another hockey game.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
How tired would you be?
I jokingly said, whoever wins that game, the win should have counted for 2 wins in the series, and when they started game 3, they should have a 1-0 lead heading into the second period. Right?
Yeah. Like baseball runner on second, starting in extra innings.
Exactly. And
real quick, Desert King said the game was 2 minutes short of being the longest game ever. So that's our unofficial reference person right there, Desert King. Thank you.
Kings HQ just sent me this. The longest NHL game went to 6 overtimes. That was in the 1936 Stanley Cup Finals. Mud Bruneto's goal gave the Detroit Red Wings a 1-0 victory over the Montreal Maroons. 217 minutes and 14 seconds is a lot of hockey.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it was a different kind of hockey back then too. So the speed at which they play now, like, what are you eating between intermissions? Like, is there pizza? Are there Red Bulls? Are you sleepy? Did you
I
try
think you just have an IV hooked up.
Yeah, like, what do you do? Does the coach have something to say every time? Does everybody just put their heads against the back of their stalls? Like,
and what do you do with the equipment at the end of that? Like, my method of just tossing all the equipment in the trunk of my car and hoping that it's not too hot the next day really would not work.
Joe and the rest of the equipment staff, Dana, they would be so bummed having to slug all that extra heavy, sweaty stuff. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Here we go. Tampa Columbus was in fact the 4th longest all time. Thank you guys at Kings HQ.
Thank you.
4 longest OT games: March 24th, 1936, Detroit, Montreal. April 3rd, 1933, Toronto 1, Boston 0. May 4th, 2000, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. No, that can't be 2000. All right. August 11th, 2020, Tampa and Columbus. So there you go. Wow. I thought that game with Keith Promo scoring was a lot earlier than 2000, but maybe my memory's wrong. Now, Carlyn, I heard a fascinating suggestion on one of the hockey shows I listen to. I apologize for not remembering who suggested this, but their suggestion was in the first round of the playoffs, you get 1 OT. In the second round of the playoffs, you get 2 OT. In the third round of the playoffs, you can play 3 OT. And in the final, it's just, right, it takes as long as it takes. But for each round, you add 1 period. And if at the end of that amount of time you don't have a winner, then you just go to the shootout.
Never go to the shootout in the playoffs. Why would you do that? Why?
Well, the argument is, and I actually sort of, like, I don't like the solution, but I sort of hear the argument. The argument is it's especially in game 1 of a playoff series.
Okay.
To go 5 OT, like, you're burning people out.
Yes,
that's just too much.
But Jesse, hockey is a team sport. If you're relying on the skill of one person to put the puck in the back of the net, that's not fair. And maybe if you lined all the teams up, roster to roster, and put 1 against 1, sure, you're gonna have a winner at the end of the day. But that is not fair. That is not why any team is there in the postseason. It's never because of one person. So why would you decide a game, especially too? What if it's a pivotal game? What if it's an elimination game? You cannot base a win off of one person, especially in the postseason when an entire team is the reason why you got there. If that's how they, I was just going to say if that's how they decided all season long, which they do if it needs to be done. I just don't like that. I don't like that for the postseason. And I don't want to see it ever. Oh my gosh. Pinky agrees with me. She says, yes, Carlyn. Yes. Thank you, Pinky. I appreciate you backing me up here.
I I hate the shootout. I hated the shootout when it was introduced. I think they should go back to ties.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I was listening to him.
Anyway.
What's that?
I said no, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I know. Nobody likes ties but me. I can't wish I could remember who it was that was saying it, but their argument just for the first time, they said like, look, it's a TV show, it's a series of TV shows, and you just can't have in the first round like 5-6 overtimes. It's crazy. Now, the real answer is that almost never happens, right? Like that's the fourth longest in over 100 years of organized professional hockey. So not to worry. But there were other games that day. The Flames beat the Stars 3-1, and Vegas over the Hawks. Nothing terribly exciting there. But that 5 OT game did push the Boston Hurricanes game to the next morning.
Yes.
And Carolina was getting a bit mouthy on Twitter about how long the game was taking. Then, of course, first thing Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., that game goes 2 overtimes.
Oh, my gosh. That's
a lot of
karma.
hockey.
That's karma.
Yeah.
My God.
And I saw somebody in the Twitch chat saying there can never be too much hockey.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know. 10 periods of hockey between 2 games, one of them starting at 8 a.m. West Coast time. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's not too much, but it's a lot. The Islanders.
It's not.
The Islanders beat the Capitals 4-2. Ilya Kovalchuk a -2 with no points in a game that his team lost by 2. So that's interesting. The Avs just crushed the Yotes. They're my pick to win the cup, and 40 shots on goal to 14 shots on goal. They beat them 3-0. The Avs are rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just real good. The Flyers beat the Habs, so congratulations, Carlyn, on your Flyers win.
And Nate Thompson, former King, who's also playing the Montreal Canadiens, which was his former team right before, the deadline. So I think that's more fun for him, too, to play against his former team right there and then being able to do that. I love that. So yes, Flyers have a special place in my heart, but I love how Kings fans will kind of cling to a team that has a former King on it. And I think that's a great pick for anybody looking to support Nate Thompson as the Flyers roll on. And
speaking of former players, that's not a great transition. This guy's not a former player. He's a current player, and he's not even playing his former team. But where are my Tanner Pearson haters at, Carlyn?
Tanner Pearson, not in this chat.
No,
Tanner Pearson haters here. No.
They're out there. They know who they are. The Vancouver Canucks defeat the St. Louis Blues 5-2. Tanner Pearson, 2 assists and a +2. I will forever miss Tanner Pearson. I was rooting against Vancouver in the qualifying rounds for that sweet, sweet second-round draft pick. But now that they're in, I'm pulling for Vancouver because of Tanner Pearson. Any player that's won a championship with the Los Angeles Kings moving on and going somewhere else and seeing success, you will root for them. I can't think of any player that you're rooting against that's been on either of those cup teams, Jesse. I can't think of one. There's probably one out there, but I'm not going to spend too much time thinking about it. Don't think about it. Don't. And then, of course, we've got 4 more games today. And as we mentioned, the Lightning up against the Blue Jackets, courtesy of Nikita Kucherov. Carlyn, we're going to go ahead and take a word from Manscaped. But when we come back, we're going to look around the social media roundup. All right. One.
It's one all, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
All right.
Jinx. You're good.
Live web TV. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the social media roundup for the past week. Carlyn, what do we got going on?
Got a lot of things going on. All right. One of them we're going to start with is probably maybe one of the greatest puns of all time. And it's a thank you fans from the crew at Rogers Place having an actual Jumbotron graphic saying thank you fans and then fans in the stands. And Jesse, you're a sucker for puns. I know maybe you've I want to make a subtle but important distinction here. I hate puns. Oh.
Yeah. I am just compelled to occasionally make them.
Okay.
I don't even think what I do is puns necessarily, but there's just like part of my brain that's like, oh, that's an opportunity to do that, and it's stupid, and you'll hate yourself. But we're doing it anyway. So regarding the fan gag, look, I made that joke already. It was a couple years ago, but there's Jonathan Quick in the locker room, and I may have the wording wrong, but basically I said, look, security at Staples Center needs to tighten up because somebody let some fans into the locker room after the game.
Such a good tweet. Such a good tweet.
It was. So NHL,
gosh.
hire me to run your Twitter account, I guess is what I'm saying. But look,
There
I
we
do
go.
love, to me, it's like I hate the end product, but I love the process of getting there.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is for me. So anyway,
You seem
good
like
job,
one of
NHL.
those people that would like, if someone said a pun, you'd just be like, oh, like you'd
Yeah.
maybe cringe. You'd be like, yep,
Exactly.
you did that.
Yep.
Next up, we've got, it's not even really another pun, but it's just a nice play on what was actually happening here. And they put a little graphic up for the 7th period stretch.
Yeah.
7th period stretch. What? And appropriate. I mean, it's appropriate. What were your thoughts on that?
And I mean, look, you've been working baseball. What are they doing for the 7th inning stretch during this nothing?
No, I like sometimes would like look around and be like, are we all getting up? Because I'll just stand. And what's crazy is you actually feel like you should be standing up and moving around at that point in the game because baseball's a long game. So it's a much like welcomed thing to stand up and stretch. So.
I imagine, I don't watch a ton of baseball, obviously, but I imagine if you're watching at home, the 7th inning stretch is a chance for you to run up, grab a beer, go to the bathroom, get some pretzels, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So they just don't have it anymore? That's it?
Oh, I don't even know how they're like handling it. Maybe there's something that's happening that I'm not seeing or whatever, but during the game where I'm sitting and what's in my earpiece, I get nothing. So I just kind of, stretch, fix my makeup, write my notes.
Hopefully we won't have too many 7th period stretches in hockey moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Now, next up, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes. You referenced it already. Tweeting at Tampa and pretty much using Tampa's own words from when they were eliminated last season and how they put out this almost like a public apology. They used that in reference to their game not being broadcasted because Tampa was knocking them out for going so late. But did I get that right?
Yeah. And I liked that a lot more than the fan one.
Yeah, that's deep. That's a deep reference. What do you call that?
A deep cut, a deep Twitter cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the B-sides. Like that was like, God, I need more hip phrases to say. But that was such a good deep dive into something that happened last year. For whatever social media person had that one on deck or just like the light bulb went off, props to you.
Carolina had a bunch of good ones. That to me was the top one, just because, like you said, using Tampa's words against them, which is always
like vintage
always
Pat
wonderful.
Donahue, don't you think? Vintage Pat Donahue, like that is something that he would have in his back pocket to be like, "What's up, Kings Twitter, 2014?"
And honestly, if you're gonna be a team on Twitter, to me, what's the point if you're not gonna do stuff like that? Like
exactly.
The second period is starting, we're up 2-0. Like, all right, so I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I love our team's social media, and I love seeing everybody else's just do things like that. That's what it's for. Absolutely what it's for. Next up, we've just got a couple tweets from inside the bubble. We've got I believe it's the Montreal Canadiens working on some puzzles. They're giving us like a little bit of a tour of what's been going on. I know that's a gym mat on the ground, but if you think about it, it's also a puzzle because there's like pieces that you have to puzzle together there for the mat. But yeah, they're living summer camp life, Jesse. Like we talked about already.
Are you a puzzle person?
No, absolutely not. I have no time span for that. My brain, here's my brain. To relax, I play Call of Duty. And like I literally I'll wear my little
relaxing.
But seriously, I'll wear my little heartbeat tracker and my heart rate will go down when I'm focused on like doing the things that happen in that video game. And it's insane. Puzzles literally would probably spike my blood pressure and make me enraged. And I don't think I would calm down doing them. What about you?
Are you a Harry Potter person at all?
Yeah. Love good old HP.
Which house do you think you belong to?
Probably Gryffindor.
All right,
What do
that
you
sounds
think?
right with the Call of Duty thing. To me, puzzles are the most Hufflepuff thing ever, and I hate them. And I have zero interest in them. And if other people want to do it and it helps them do whatever, fine, great. But I don't know. Maybe in a century where we didn't have other things to do, puzzles were a corking good way to kill some time. But
I feel like it doesn't. Okay. This is some psychologist somewhere is going to be yelling at the screen if they're watching, but I feel like it doesn't do anything for me mentally other than frustrate me. And I know there's problem solving skills that obviously go into putting a 1,000-piece puzzle together.
No, there aren't.
I feel like I get more things mentally accomplished while I'm playing Call of Duty because
you see, Carlyn, what you do is you start with the corners and then you work your way towards no, I get it.
No, I'm doing mental gymnastics while I'm trying to teamwork and problem solve in a game. And I'm getting more done. Anyway, now that we made
moving
this
on. Yeah.
Next up, we had just a cute picture of the Calgary Flames wearing some masks with animal prints across. I mean, sorry, I'm wearing animal print. They're wearing animals printed on their masks. Totally different than an actual animal print. Awesome. I love that. I love how people have been creative with what you can put on the bottom of the mask. I'm still biased. I love the Drew Doughty and the Bailey masks that the Kings have right now. But I mean, that's also great. Look at Gaudreau with a little giraffe mug. So cute. Oh my gosh. Next up, Jesse, we've got meatball.
We've always got to have meatball.
Do you see the difference? It's a plate of meatballs and it's a meatball on the ground. Also, just look at how cute he is. His little back legs are sticking out in front of him, like he's using them to, I don't know. They're just his little posture. I love that meatball so much.
Yeah, look, he didn't win Bark Madness for nothing.
No.
And,
he won for being adorable.
Not sure if he's going to be in next year's Bark Madness. I heard a rumor that he might not be, but look, he's my forever champion, I guess.
I think we just cancel Bark Madness. He's back. He's bark to bark.
Don't put that in the universe. There are people who will jump all over that, Carlyn.
Kings, take note. All of you watching right now, end the championship with Meatball being back to bark champions. We don't need any more. We don't need it. We've done it all.
Respectfully disagree. I want more Bark Madness.
I don't want another winner.
I do.
I know. What am I saying?
Usually when it comes to the Stanley Cup, I say no new happy people. But when it comes to Bark Madness, lots more new happy dogs. I'm all for that. I think that is going to wrap up Social Media Roundup, and that means we are done for the week. Carlyn, I want to thank you for joining me.
I don't want to be done, Jesse.
We can talk about your favorite rides at Disneyland some more if you want.
Oh, I mean, just don't take the Cars ride away from me. That was rude. It was a rude way to start the show, and I'm not happy about it, but it all made sense. It all came around. You had me thinking all week. It was like you planted a time bomb in my head of what the heck could he be asking me this question for?
Well, I promise I'll never make you make that choice again.
Thank you.
But I want to thank you for joining me. I want to thank everybody for watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and as always, in the Twitch chat room. I want to thank everybody behind the scenes at the LA Kings for giving us the Tampa updates and our history lessons.
Yeah, I also want to producers. That was awesome.
That's right. Want to thank producer Bailey for producing this episode for us.
Thank you, Bailey.
And Carlyn, I would never forgive myself if I didn't correct a reference you made very, very early in the show. Nelson Muntz is actually the Simpsons character who says, ha ha. Ralph Wiggum is the one, is the slow, dim-witted child. But anyway, thanks everybody at home. Thank you, Carlyn, and thanks everybody at the Kings. For everybody out there, I am Jesse Cohen.
Jesse, wait! Yeah. Did you know that when I said that?
Yes, I did.
Why didn't you correct me when it happened?
We were rolling. It's, but I had to come back to it. I had to give Nelson Muntz his recognition. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye,
we'll talk
everybody.
to you next week.